Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. We just got a ton of new Eeveelution EXs fully revealed that are going to be featured in our January set, the Prismatic Evolution set. Now, we actually did see an Eevee EX and a Flareon EX revealed earlier last week. I didn't cover those, though, because I didn't really want to do a video on just 2 cards. Plus, I figured we were going to get the remaining Eeveelution EXs revealed soon anyways. Now, we actually already have a Sylveon EX that's coming out in Surging Sparks. So technically there's 7 new Eeveelution EXs, but that also, I'm going to count the Eevee EX on top of that, because we are also getting, like I said, an Eevee EX alongside all the Eeveelution EXs. I'm super excited for this. I'm sure this set is going to be a big one. Hopefully the Eeveelutions are playable. Eeveelutions are a very popular Pokemon, so I'm really hoping, you know, Pokemon gave us some playable ones. They are all Terra Pokemon, which does help, so I'm got my fingers crossed we got some good Eeveelutions coming out in this set that continue kind of the trend that the VMAX has left, because there are some decent Eeveelution VMAX cards for sure. And yeah, if you're excited for the new cards, leave a like in the video. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe down below. We're on the road to 18,000 subs. Leave a link to PokeBeach down below if you want to go check out the cards for yourself. Also, I apologize if my voice is a tad bit raspy in this video. I am getting sick, and I've had a sore throat all day, so I might sound a little raspy here. Apologies for that, but yeah, I'm getting sick. Fun times, I know. So, starting off, we got the Leafeon EX. Now, I have had some playable Leafeons in the past, so hopefully this one is good. Now, we do have the attack Leaf Typhoon for a Grass and a Colorless Energy. It does 60 damage, and then it does 60 more damage for each energy on all of your opponent's Pokemon. So, this attack could be good against decks that like to put a lot of energy in play and leave it in play. Something like Regidrago, for example, will be really good against this. But I'm not too sold on the attack because, like, there's decks right now that kind of either don't put a lot of energy in play, like Charizard, for example, can just put 2 fire in play and bypass Leaf Typhoon, and something like Raging Bolt discards all the energy anyway, so they don't really care. So I'm not sold on it, but you know what? As time goes on, more decks might come out that revolve around having a lot of energy in play. Then when you have your Terra attack, Mossagate here, does 230 damage for a Grass, Fire, and a Water Energy, it looks like, and does 230, like I said, and heals 100 damage from each of your bench Pokemon. Now, if you can power up this attack, this actually would be pretty funny against a spread deck like a Dragapult EX deck. I mean, 230 isn't bad damage here. I mean, you're going to knock out a lot of the big basics, too, even if you're not, you know, relevantly healing anything. At least you're doing big damage. The heal effect is nice. I mean, it's just kind of funny when you're playing against Regidrago or a deck with a Dragapult EX in it. You just completely heal your board. Now, keep in mind, being a Terra Pokemon means this Pokemon can play, you know, Sparkling Crystal. Crispin's going to be really good with the Eeveelution EXs, I'm sure, too. All right, next up, we got Flareon. Now, this card was already revealed. Like I said, I have not done a video on it yet talking about it, but now I'm going to do it because we got the other Eeveelutions, like I predicted. It's a Fire-type, Stage 1 Pokemon. It's got the attack Burning Charge. For a Fire and a Colorless Energy, it does 130 damage, and then you search your deck for 2 basic energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon. This card reminds me a lot of Mega Manectric. Now, it's not the exact same thing. Mega Manectric put energy from the discard into play, but Flareon is still an energy accelerator, and I am always happy to see an energy accelerator in the format. Now, it's only doing 130, and 130 is kind of mid in this day and age, but you know what? At least you're putting energy in play. You can power up other Flareons. The big thing is you can actually power up your Flareons on the bench to then use the attack, it's late, man. I'm not going to bother pronouncing that. Carnelian? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Carnelian. Does 280 damage, which it does require a Fire, Water, and Lightning. I find that kind of funny, like the Kanto Eeveelution types. But, I mean, 280 damage, pretty good damage. All of a sudden, you're knocking out V-Stars. You're knocking out bigger EX Pokemon. You're knocking out Pidgeot EX, for example. Not a bad attack. And I think the strategy of Flareon is you're going to use Flareon to charge up your other Flareons. And, of course, like I said, you have access to Sparkling Crystal and Crispin. If this card does release before rotation, this also has access to Magma Basin, which is really nice. You know what I find kind of funny? Flareon VMAX was not very playable. I think actually Flareon VMAX was probably the worst Eeveelution VMAX we got. But there's actually a decent chance Flareon EX ends up being one of the better Eeveelution EXs we get. How the tables have turned. All right, next up, we got Vaporeon EX here. It's got the attack Heavy Squall. This attack does 60 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon EX. Now, it does require the Water and 2 Colorless Energy, and then you have the attack Aqua Marine for the same energy cost as Flareon, does 280 damage, and then, yeah, it does the same thing, 280. Vaporeon's not bad either. The 60 damage spread is actually pretty strong. It says 3 energy in the translation, but it actually is only 2 energy on the text. That makes this card even better, actually, as a spread attacker. What the heck? Okay, Vaporeon actually seems like a pretty good card because it actually has a pretty good spread attack. Now, it only hits EXs, and of course, you know, Terra Pokemon will, not be damaged by the attack, which is a little unfortunate. But, if you're playing against any other deck, even if they just have like Mew, Squawk, and Pheasant play, you just go Vaporeon, 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 do some big damage. I mean, not a bad attack. And then, of course, you did that Aquamarine attack that does a nice big 280 damage. It's one thing to note, actually. I wonder if you could build like an Eeveelution toolbox deck with Flareon. You use Flareon to build up the Vaporeon, and of course, I'm assuming Jolteon will also have the same Terra attack cost, because it seems like the Kanto Pokemon have that Terra attack cost. So maybe we'll see the Jolteon be good too. Maybe you can play like a Flareon, Vaporeon, Jolteon toolbox deck. That'd be kind of cool, actually. I like Vaporeon. The spread attack is kind of cool. 60 damage isn't bad. It's for 2 energy, not 3, as it says in the text there. So 2 energy, 60 spread to EX isn't bad at all. Again, you can't do it on Terras, which unfortunate, but it's not a bad attack either. All right, then we got Glaceon EX here. So Glaceon's got the attack Frost Bullet that does 110 damage for 2 energy, does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and then you have the attack Ecluse. Knock out one of your opponent's Pokemon that has exactly 6 damage counters on it. Now, this attack does require Grass, Water, and Dark, but you do get to knock something out. Now, they do have to have 6 damage on them. Now, ironically enough, you can use the Vaporeon to put 6 damage on them, and then you can knock them out with Glaceon. Now, I don't know how you're going to pull that off specifically, because you're also kind of mixing up the typing a little bit. Because Vaporeon needs Water, Fire, Lightning to attack, and this guy needs Grass, Water, Dark. I guess you could build your deck around Vaporeon's spread attack, and then structure your energy around Glaceon's attack. I guess that's how you could play this deck. Sure. Yeah, Glaceon's okay. 110 damage is a little underwhelming for, like, damage output. It only needs 2 energy, though. One thing I will say about these Eeveelutions is their attacks only needing 2 energy is kind of decent, to be honest with you. It makes it a bit easier to attack with them. You can use them with Crystal, like I said, because you can Crystal for 1 energy. Kind of sick, I'm not gonna lie. So, not the worst card ever. I guess there's other ways you could put 6 damage on your opponent's active. Maybe Dusknoir, Dusclops doesn't really do anything. I guess you could go Dusclops, Radiant Kazam, or something cheesy. I don't know. That's probably not going to work, though. Next up, we have Jolteon EX. Now, Jolteon has had a lot of good cards before, so hopefully this time we got another good Jolteon. It's got the attack Flash Spear, Lightning, and Colorless Energy. Does 60 damage. You may discard up to 2 basic energy from your bench Pokemon, doing 90 damage for each energy discarded in this way. So, I mean, that's some pretty good damage. I mean, that's what, 180 with the 2 energy plus the 60, that's 240 damage, which is going to be hitting the magic number versus stuff like Raging Bolt. Now, Jolteon being a lightning Pokemon is nice, because of course you can build it up via Electric Generator. Sparkling Crystal also works with it. Now, you just have to find a way to put energy back into play from your bench. There are different things you could play this with. Ironically, you could play them with Solrock, Lunatone, or Xatu. Just some... Those are off the top of my head anyways. Some ways you can put energy in play. But yeah, Jolteon does 240 damage. Not bad damage output at all. It is the weakest of the Eeveelutions, it seems like, though. It only has 260 HP. One thing to note, Jolteon does have a free retreat cost, which is pretty good. It's got a free retreat. Yeah, retreat 0. Good stuff. And it's a lightning Pokemon. Lightning is still going to be a decent type, assuming Lugia, Palkia, and Pidgeot are still in the format. And assuming you also don't get like another really good lightning weak Pokemon that's going to come out in this set. Then, of course, Jolteon does have the same attack we saw on the Vaporeon and the Flareon, just 280 damage for that energy cost of Fire, Water, and Lightning. So not a bad attack. I think Jolteon might be maybe the best of the Eeveelutions so far that have been revealed. It might be the best. Yeah, I mean, Flareon's pretty good, but I think Jolteon takes the cake just because it does big damage, and big damage is kind of the way the meta is right now. Your deck has to do big damage and take knockouts. You can't really afford to play a slower game like you do with the Vaporeon or the Glaceon or the Flareon. So Jolteon low-key might be the best one right now. Next up, we do have Espeon EX. Espeon EX does have the attack Psych Out. Does 160 damage. Does require 3 energy this time, not 2. 160 damage. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand. So, I mean, it's okay. I mean, discarding a random card is, like, fine. Pair this with, like, I don't know, Roxanne, Iono, you can put them to, like, no cards in hand, I guess. That's, like, kind of underwhelming. Again, 160 just doesn't really get the job done right now. But then it's got the Terra attack. And this is probably the most interesting of its attacks, obviously. It does require an interesting attack cost. Grass, Psychic, and Dark. De-evolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by shuffling the highest stage of evolution back into your opponent's deck. That's kind of insane. So, obviously, TM Devo is a very good card. Devo is very popular. Well, not it's not popular right now, but it was popular because it's good against Charizard. Because you can knock out Charizard, you can remove them from, disable their candies. Espeon puts the cards back into their deck. The thing with Devo is the Devo puts the Charizard stuff back into the hand, which can be kind of awkward, whereas Espeon's like, nah, bro, shuffle them in the deck. Not a bad attack. Now, it is a little costly, obviously. 3 different energy types. It's a little awkward, but that's not a bad attack. If you're playing against Charizard or even Dragapult for that matter, you can really punish them. Pair this with like Unfair Stamp or something if you can pull that off, and you can really punish your opponent. Because the fact that the evolutions don't go back in the hand is actually a pretty big deal, because this makes your opponent have to find the evolutions again. So again, if you can like hand disruption in combination with this attack, there definitely could be a pretty good combo there. Other than that, though, the card's like, it's fine. I think it's mostly going to see play for that Devo attack if it sees play at all. And then finally, we got Sylveon, which this is the exact same card we're getting in Surging Sparks, but we are finally getting the Umbreon EX. So, Umbreon EX does have a Dark type. It's got the attack Moon Mirage for a Dark and 2 colorless energy, does 160 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. And Confusion's like not bad, not the worst attack ever. Then, of course, you got the Terra attack Onyx, Shadow Playboy card. You discard all energy from this Pokemon, draw 1 prize card. So, if you build this up, it does require Lightning, Psychic, and Dark energy. You can build up the Umbreon EX, and then you can knock out, you just take a prize card. You don't knock the opponent out, which is a little sus, but it does give you a prize card. So, there could be like a weird scenario at the end of the game where you can like checkmate your opponent, and then like, just Umbreon for game, instead of taking the big knockout, I guess. Awkward attack cost. Now, okay, I'm imagining we got to be getting some kind of Eeveelution support card in this set. Because so far from what I've seen, apart from Jolteon and Flareon and maybe Vaporeon, the Eeveelutions are a little mid. I think part of the problem is that they gave their Terra attacks the juice. The problem is the Terra attacks are so costly. Yeah, there's Crispin and Crystal in the format, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more to make the Eeveelutions a little bit better. So my theory is we are going to be getting some kind of Eeveelution card in this set that's specifically good with Pokemon that evolve from Eevee. So hopefully that happens. Because like I said, some of these Eeveelutions are a little mid. Now, this is obviously going to be a giant collector set. Collectors are going to go crazy for the set. We need a little bit of competitive value, though. I really don't want the best EXs from the Eeveelution set to just be like other random Pokemon that aren't Eeveelution based. Like, I don't want the best EX from the set to be like a Lugia EX. You know what I mean? That would just be kind of stupid. So I really hope we get some kind of Eevee supports card in this set to give these Eeveelutions more juice. Because it feels like they really just made their Terra attacks strong, but they're just so awkward to power up. And surely we're going to get something, right? I got to imagine. Anyways, we got the last EX to look at here, the Eevee EX. It is a basic Pokemon, and it has an ability, Rainbow DNA. You can play Pokemon EX and evolve from Eevee on this Pokemon to evolve it. You can evolve this Pokemon during the first turn or during the turn you play it. So, of course, with the Eevee in play, this counts as like an extra Eevee that can evolve into an Eeveelution EX. So you can't use Eevee EX to evolve into like Umbreon EX, right? So that's not how it works. You have to evolve from the basic Eevee. So you can kind of treat Eevee EX as like a 5th extra Eevee, which isn't bad. And this also would make an Eevee toolbox deck a lot better, which is, I imagine, how you're going to have to play the Eeveelution deck. The best thing I can think of right now is using Flareon to build up your Eevees, right? So just having more outs to getting more Eevees out makes sense. So they kind of designed these Eeveelutions to be a toolbox deck using Flareon to power them up. I still think we got to get Sling in the set to make them a little bit better by themselves instead of Eevee Box. The Eevee Box could be cool, but I'm not wowed by an Eevee Box deck quite yet, especially with how the meta is right now. There's too much Unga Bunga cheese with Dusknoir and Palkia and Lugia and Iron Hands. Just too much garbage in the format, like Raging Bolt, that just Unga Bunga these decks. Like, Eevee Box is not going to be competitive, I'm just saying. So I think we need like a cool card to like offset that. Now, apparently we got some other cards here. We got a new supporter card. Draw 4 cards. At the end of your turn, if you have 5 more cards in your hand, discard your hand. So that's interesting. You could have like 5 cards in hand and have a 9-card hand out of nowhere. The problem is, if you're not able to play your hand down to 4 cards, you have to discard your hand. I don't know how playable this card will be. It could be good if your deck actually can constantly play around the effect of it. But other than that, this might just be mid. Can it compete with Research and Iono? Probably not. It's a cool card, though. It might see niche play. That's the best I can give this card. But we do have a brand new ace spec here. Yes, we're continuing to get more ace specs into the new year. We got Max Rod here. Choose up to 5 of any combination of Pokemon and base guarantee cards from your discard pile, put them into your hand. No, not the discard pile. These cards go straight to your hand, and that is kind of cool. That is definitely really strong. Now, is it worth wasting your Ace-Spec slot on this card when there's better cards like Night Stretcher and Super Odd of the format? I don't know. Like, it just feels like the way the meta is and the way the game is built right now, you don't need this card. Really, the best deck that I could probably play is honestly Goldengo, because you can get Goldengo for 5 energy. This card actually might be good with Goldengo, but we already have Energy Search Pro in the deck, which is already making Goldengo a meta deck in Japan. So I don't know if this card is good with Goldengo. Maybe there's another combo this could be good with. Maybe this is sneakily good with the Eeveelutions. Who knows? But this card, it's okay. It's not bad. I don't know any deck that really want to play it because it is really strong, but it's kind of rivaled by Night Stretcher and Super Rod already in the format. And again, you have to waste your Ace-Spec slot on it. And then we're getting reprints of all these Eeveelutions that have been printed already throughout the different Scarlet and Violet sets. So that's that. None of these are new cards. These are all reprinted Eeveelution cards we already have. But there you go, folks. That is the Eeveelution reveal. Low-key a little disappointed. I wish they were a little bit better. I do think Flareon and Jolteon are the two best ones, obviously. Flareon seems to be the best way to go. It's just, again, I feel like with the way the game is built right now, these Eeveelution Turbo box decks, I don't think it's going to work very well, because I don't know how good an Eevee box deck is going to do in a meta where, like, every deck goes kaboom turn 2 and, like, Unga Bungas you and, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible, right? That's my issue. Also, I don't know if these cards can even beat Charizard EX, for that matter, because Charizard, once you've taken like 3 prizes, Zard's going to be just one-shot all your Eevees, and you're going to be struggling. So hopefully they make some better cards that make these Eevees a little bit stronger within the set, because I just don't feel like the Eevee box deck is quite there just yet. Just don't think it's going to have as much competitive value. I do think Flareon is really good, and I think Jolteon is good, and I think Vaporeon is not bad either, but I definitely want to see a little bit more of these Eeveelutions. Let me know what you think of the Eeveelution EXs down below in the comments. What Eeveelution do you think is good? Did I miss any combos with these Eevees? I probably did. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch y'all later. Subscribe down below, and to the channel. We're on the road to 18K subs. Check out the sponsors, TC Evolutions, and Card Camera down below. That'll be for me. Hopefully, I'm not going to get sick. It's all good, though. All right, bye-bye.